Welcome to Timeless Story Vault. What you are entering tonight is not simply a story meant to carry you towards sleep, but an intentional passage into a lucid astral dreamscape, a space where awareness remains steady as perception expands beyond the familiar boundaries of waking thought. This is a guided experience of the astral plane, approached gently and without force, where observation is enough and curiosity is welcomed. Nothing is required of you here except presence, and even that may soften naturally as the environment reveals itself. You are not leaving your body or crossing into anything dangerous or unknown. Instead, you are shifting attention into a layer of experience that has always existed alongside ordinary awareness, waiting quietly for recognition. The astral realm you are approaching is stable, calm, and deliberate, shaped by structure rather than chaos. Think of it as a place of observation rather than action, a domain where perception becomes wider while the sense of self remains intact and safe. As you settle into this moment, notice that your awareness feels slightly more spacious than usual, as though the edges of your attention have loosened. You are still fully here, still conscious of your surroundings, but there is also a subtle sense that something else is beginning to unfold, just beyond the surface of thought. This is not drowsiness, and it is not imagination in the usual sense. It is the beginning of a lucid threshold, where inner and outer perception start to overlap. The space around you begins to change in a way that feels gradual and intentional. There is no sudden transition, no drop or lift, only a quiet reorientation. The sense of the room you are physically in does not vanish, but it gently recedes, making room for a broader field of awareness to emerge. Within that field, you begin to perceive a vast, open darkness that is not empty, but layered with depth and subtle movement. This darkness is not the absence of light, but a kind of cosmic backdrop, like the night sky seen far from any city. Within it, faint points of illumination begin to appear, not as stars exactly, but as distant markers of structure. They do not rush toward you or demand attention. They simply exist, steady and calm, allowing your awareness to drift toward them at its own pace. As these points of light become clearer, you realize they are arranged with intention. Lines of subtle luminosity connect them, forming slow arcs and geometric relationships that suggest architecture rather than randomness. You are beginning to perceive the outer boundary of an astral structure, something vast and observant, designed not for movement, but for seeing. The sensation is similar to standing at the edge of a great open hall before fully entering it. With each passing moment, the structure becomes more defined. You sense height and distance, not measured in physical terms, but in layers of perception. There is a floor beneath you, though it does not feel solid in the conventional way. It feels supportive without resistance, as though it exists to orient you rather than hold weight. Beneath this floor, currents of dim light move slowly, like celestial tides flowing beneath glass. Ahead of you rises the outline of the Astral Observatory. It is immense, yet not imposing, constructed from smooth planes of shadow and soft radiance that shift depending on how you look at them. There are no sharp edges here, no harsh angles. Everything curves gently, as if shaped by time rather than force. The observatory does not feel abandoned or ancient in a ruined sense. Instead, it feels enduring, maintained by the quiet intelligence of the realm itself. As you move closer, you notice that your sense of movement is different here. You are not walking in the way you would in the physical world, yet you are clearly approaching. Distance shortens through attention rather than effort. The observatory responds subtly to your presence, not by opening doors or signaling welcome, but by becoming clearer, as though acknowledging that you are now ready to perceive it. The surface of the observatory reflects distant astral light in muted tones, deep blues, silvers, and soft hints of violet. These colors do not glow brightly, but they carry depth, like pigments suspended in glass. Large apertures curve along the structure, open to the vast astral expanse beyond, allowing observation in every direction. This place is designed for witnessing, for understanding through still awareness rather than action. Inside the observatory, space opens further. The interior is vast, yet acoustically silent, as though sound itself has been absorbed into the architecture. Tall columns rise and dissolve into shadow above, their tops hidden in layers of dim astral haze. Between them are wide platforms and gently sloping pathways that suggest movement without urgency. Everything here encourages steadiness and patience. You become aware that your thoughts feel different in this space. They arise more slowly, and when they do, they seem less insistent. There is room between them now, space for observation without immediate reaction. This is one of the first signs of astral lucidity. Awareness remains clear, but mental noise loses its urgency. You are not trying to control this shift. It is happening naturally as you align with the environment. At the center of the observatory, far ahead, you sense a focal point. It is not a throne or a machine or an altar, but a convergence of perception. From this point, the astral expanse can be observed in layers, like overlapping skies. You do not approach it yet. Simply knowing it exists is enough for now. The observatory reveals itself in stages, never all at once. Along the edges of the interior space, subtle forms move with slow precision. These are not beings in the familiar sense, but organizing intelligences, calm presences that maintain the coherence of the observatory. They do not watch you directly, nor do they ignore you. Their awareness is ambient, like gravity or atmosphere, ensuring stability without intrusion. You may sense them without seeing them clearly, and that is intentional. As you remain within this space, your awareness continues to settle into a steady rhythm. You are not becoming less conscious, you are becoming more evenly conscious. The astral environment feels increasingly tangible, not because it becomes brighter or louder, but because your perception adjusts to meet it. This is the foundation of lucid astral experience: clarity without strain, presence without effort. The observatory does not urge you forward, yet you feel that there is more to explore. Beyond the central chamber lie additional levels, each offering deeper perspectives into the astral plane and the systems that govern it. For now, you remain at the threshold, allowing the space to fully register within you. The observatory holds steady, patient, as if waiting for the next phase of awareness to unfold naturally. The sense of orientation you have established here will carry forward. This place will not vanish when you move deeper. It will remain a reference point, a stable anchor within the astral realm. And as your awareness continues to expand, new pathways within the observatory will begin to reveal themselves, leading you further into the architecture of the astral plane itself. From within the central chamber of the Astral Observatory, your awareness begins to register additional layers of structure that were not immediately apparent. The space subtly reorganizes itself as your perception stabilizes, revealing pathways that feel less like corridors and more like lines of intention. These paths are not marked by walls or railings, but by gentle gradients of light and depth, guiding attention rather than movement. You sense that choosing one is not a commitment, only an agreement to observe from a slightly different vantage point. As you follow one of these pathways, the observatory opens outward rather than inward. The ceiling above thins into translucence, allowing a view into vast astral distances where star-like formations drift in slow, deliberate patterns. These are not stars in the physical sense, but nodes of astral activity, regions where thought, memory, and awareness intersect at different densities. You can feel their presence more than you can define their shape, like distant cities seen through atmospheric haze. Along the edges of the path, panels of softly glowing material rise from the floor, angled toward the open expanse beyond. They resemble observation windows, yet they do not reflect your image or behave like glass. Instead, they respond to your attention, clarifying whatever region of the astral field you naturally focus on. When your awareness lingers on a distant cluster, the panel deepens in contrast, revealing subtle motion and structure without pulling you closer. Through one such panel, you observe an astral current flowing diagonally across the field. It moves like a slow river of luminescent mist, carrying fragments of sensation, emotion, and half-formed imagery. These fragments do not collide or tangle. They pass through one another in a quiet exchange, reorganizing as they travel. You understand without analysis that these currents are part of the astral plane's circulatory system, redistributing experience across realms and states of awareness. Continuing along the path, you become aware of a change in texture beneath your attention. The observatory floor here feels subtly stratified, as though composed of multiple overlapping layers that exist simultaneously. Each layer resonates at a slightly different frequency, creating a sense of depth beneath stillness. You are not sinking through them, but you are aware that each supports a different mode of perception. At a gentle curve in the pathway, the space widens into a secondary chamber. This one is lower and broader, its boundaries defined by sweeping arcs of dim light that trace slow, orbital paths above you. The chamber feels quieter, not in sound, but in activity, as though it exists specifically to encourage sustained observation. Here, awareness naturally slows without becoming dull, sharpening instead into something more precise. Suspended throughout the chamber are large, translucent forms that resemble rotating lenses or spheres. Each turns at its own pace, revealing shifting internal patterns that respond subtly to changes in the surrounding astral field. These are not devices in a mechanical sense, but perceptual instruments. Structures that translate complex astral information into forms that can be witnessed without overwhelm. You do not need to understand how they function. Their presence alone stabilizes the space. As you stand among these structures, you notice that your sense of time has altered. Moments no longer stack neatly into sequence, but spread outward like ripples. You are aware of duration without feeling urgency, of continuity without needing markers. This temporal shift does not disorient you. It feels natural here, as though time has always behaved this way beneath surface awareness. Near the far edge of the chamber, a broad opening reveals another layer of the observatory. Beyond it lies a vast balcony that curves gently around the structure's outer perimeter. From here, the astral expanse opens fully, unobstructed by panels or lenses. The view is immense, yet calm, offering depth without drama. You sense that this is a place intended for extended witnessing, where awareness can rest while remaining fully alert. As you move onto the balcony, the environment responds with subtle adjustments. The ambient light softens, reducing contrast and allowing more detail to emerge gradually. Distant astral formations appear closer, though you know they have not moved. Your perception has simply tuned itself more finely, filtering noise from signal. Across the astral field, you begin to notice vast, slow-moving geometries, patterns that unfold over great distances. They resemble interlocking arcs and spirals, forming structures that exist more as relationships than objects. These are the frameworks through which the astral plane organizes itself, maintaining coherence across countless layers of experience. They do not impose order, they sustain it. Standing here, you become aware of other presences, though none approach or intrude. These are not entities in the way physical beings are entities. They are points of awareness, like distant observers, each aligned with their own perspective within the astral field. Their presence does not feel crowded or distracting. Instead, it contributes to a sense of shared stillness, as though many forms of awareness are quietly witnessing the same vast scene from different angles. The observatory itself feels subtly alive, though not sentient in a personal sense. It adjusts continuously, maintaining balance as perception shifts. Its architecture is less about structure and more about relationship, ensuring that awareness can expand without losing stability. You sense that this place has existed long before your arrival and will continue unchanged after you move deeper, serving as a constant reference point within the astral plane. From the balcony, a gentle descent becomes apparent. Not a staircase or ramp, but a gradual lowering of perspective. The space below seems denser, more concentrated, as though layers of astral information gather there. You do not descend yet, but you understand that this is where deeper systems of the astral realm operate. The observatory has shown you the broad field. Soon, it will allow you to observe the mechanisms beneath. As you remain here, your awareness grows increasingly steady. There is no effort involved, no attempt to hold focus. Clarity sustains itself naturally, supported by the environment. Thoughts may arise, but they do not pull you away. They pass through the field of perception like distant signals, acknowledged without engagement. The Astral Observatory has completed its initial purpose. You are oriented, stable, and attuned to the plane you are perceiving. Ahead lies a transition, not away from awareness, but into a deeper layer of it. The observatory does not close behind you or fade from view. Instead, it remains present, ready to anchor your perception as you begin to move beyond observation and toward direct interaction with the deeper astral systems that shape this realm. The descent you sensed from the balcony does not begin with movement so much as a shift in alignment. The Astral Observatory subtly reorients itself around you, and what once felt like distance now feels like depth. The outer expanse remains visible behind you, but your attention is gently drawn toward the denser strata below, where the astral field gathers into more structured flows. This transition is smooth and unforced, guided by the same quiet intelligence that has shaped every space so far. As your perspective lowers, the environment grows more intricate without becoming overwhelming. Layers of faint light overlap like translucent sheets, each carrying its own rhythm and direction. These layers do not compete, they interlock, forming a stable framework that supports increasingly complex patterns of movement. You sense that this region of the astral plane is less about witnessing vastness and more about understanding how that vastness maintains coherence. The observatory extends into this depth through a series of suspended platforms that appear gradually, each forming only as your awareness acknowledges the space where it will exist. Their surfaces are smooth and softly illuminated, composed of material that feels both solid and permeable. When you step onto one, there is no sensation of weight or pressure, only a subtle confirmation that your presence has been integrated into the environment's balance. The platforms do not carry you downward. Rather, they provide stable reference points as the space itself unfolds beneath your perception. Between these platforms, broad vertical currents move slowly, carrying luminous threads that twist and merge as they descend. These threads are not random. They are streams of organized astral information, each associated with a different mode of experience. Some carry emotional resonance in its most neutral form, stripped of personal narrative. Others convey memory without imagery or intention without desire. You do not absorb these streams, but you become aware of their purpose as they pass. At this level, the observatory's architecture becomes more abstract. Walls dissolve into boundaries defined by gradients of clarity rather than physical edges. Structural supports appear as arcs of focused presence, anchoring regions of space where perception would otherwise diffuse. You realize that the observatory is not a building in the conventional sense, but a stabilizing system designed to allow awareness to move safely through increasingly subtle layers of the astral plane. As you continue, a vast chamber opens below, far larger than those above, yet more contained in function. This is a nexus where multiple astral currents intersect, their flows carefully modulated to prevent turbulence. The chamber is filled with slow-moving forms that resemble enormous rings or gyres, each rotating at a distinct pace. Their motion generates gentle harmonic shifts in the surrounding field, maintaining equilibrium across layers that would otherwise drift out of alignment. You observe that when one current intensifies, another compensates, redistributing energy without disruption. This balance is not enforced but maintained through mutual responsiveness. It becomes clear that the astral plane operates less like a hierarchy and more like an ecosystem, where stability arises from continuous adjustment rather than fixed control. The observatory's role is to make this system legible to awareness without interfering in its function. Along the perimeter of the chamber, tall structures emerge, columns of softly glowing translucence that extend both upward and downward beyond visibility. These are anchor points, stabilizers that connect different astral layers through resonance rather than force. Their presence creates zones of heightened clarity, allowing you to perceive interactions that would otherwise remain indistinct. Standing near one, you sense an amplification of awareness, as though background noise has been gently filtered away. Within these clarified zones, you begin to notice entities that were previously only felt as distant presences. Here, they resolve into discernible forms, not bodies, but coherent patterns of awareness. These are the astral gatekeepers, though the name arises more as recognition than introduction. They do not announce themselves or draw attention. Their presence is marked by stillness, by the way surrounding currents adjust subtly in response to them. Each gatekeeper appears as a tall, composed silhouette, formed from layered light, its boundaries precise yet non-rigid. There are no faces in the familiar sense, yet their orientation conveys attention. They are not observing you personally, but monitoring the balance of the space as a whole. When your awareness brushes against theirs, there is no barrier, only a brief alignment, a confirmation that you are recognized and that your presence here is appropriate. The gatekeepers do not communicate through language or imagery. Instead, understanding arises through proximity. You sense their function. They regulate transitions between astral layers, ensuring that movement occurs gradually enough to preserve coherence. They are not guardians in the defensive sense, but stewards of continuity. Their intelligence is vast, calm, and entirely non-judgmental, focused solely on maintaining the integrity of the plane. As you move deeper into the chamber, the astral currents begin to slow perceptibly. This is not a reduction of activity, but a refinement. Motion becomes more deliberate, each shift carrying greater significance. You notice that your own awareness mirrors this change, becoming more focused without narrowing. You are not being directed inward or outward, but held in a state of stable observation that feels increasingly natural. At the center of the nexus, a broad aperture opens, revealing a deeper layer still. Unlike previous transitions, this one is marked by a distinct change in density. The space beyond appears darker, not from absence of light, but from concentration. Light here is absorbed into structure rather than dispersed, creating an environment that feels intimate despite its scale. This is where the astral plane's underlying frameworks are most active, shaping the conditions through which all higher layers emerge. The observatory does not extend directly into this depth. Instead, it forms a boundary, a final stabilizing ring that ensures awareness remains coherent as it approaches the threshold. The gatekeepers align along this boundary, their presence reinforcing its function. You sense that crossing this threshold is not mandatory, nor is it permanent. It represents a choice to engage with the astral plane at a more fundamental level, one that requires sustained clarity rather than effort. As you stand at this edge, the environment holds steady. Nothing urges you forward, and nothing pulls you back. The currents continue their slow exchange, the anchor columns hum softly with resonance, and the gatekeepers remain quietly attentive. This pause is intentional, a space for integration before any further descent. Awareness here is not about doing or becoming, but about recognizing readiness. From within the deeper layer, faint patterns begin to emerge, structures that are not yet fully visible, but whose presence can be felt as organizing influences. They resemble vast lattices or fields of alignment, shaping the flow of astral experience long before it reaches perceptible form. You do not yet interact with them directly, but their existence clarifies the scale at which the astral plane operates. The Astral Observatory has guided you from broad orientation to structural understanding, and now to the threshold of foundational systems. Your awareness is steady, grounded, and fully present. The next transition will not deepen sensation, but meaning, revealing how individual perception interfaces with the astral plane's deeper architecture. The space remains open, waiting without expectation, as you prepare to move beyond observation and into direct engagement with the underlying frameworks that quietly sustain this realm. You remain at the threshold for a time that cannot be measured, not because anything is delayed, but because the astral plane here operates without urgency. The deeper layer beyond the observatory does not open wider or retreat. It simply exists, stable and receptive, allowing awareness to approach it at its own pace. The gatekeepers hold their positions along the boundary, their calm presence reinforcing the sense that nothing must be proven or earned. This is not a gate that tests readiness through challenge, but a passage that responds naturally when alignment is complete. Gradually, without a clear moment of transition, your awareness begins to interact with the deeper field. It is not a movement forward so much as a soft overlap, where perception and structure begin to share the same space. The density you sensed earlier resolves into a subtle cohesion, like entering water that supports rather than resists. Light here behaves differently, gathering into slow, continuous bands that define orientation without edges or corners. You are no longer observing the astral plane from within the observatory's stabilizing influence. You are within a layer where the plane's underlying logic becomes gently apparent. In this depth, space is organized by resonance rather than distance. Regions form around compatible states of awareness, and separation is defined by difference in tone rather than physical span. You sense this immediately, not as confusion, but as clarity. Your own presence settles into a specific register, and the surrounding field adjusts in response, creating a pocket of coherence that feels naturally yours. There is no isolation here, only a sense of being precisely placed. Structures emerge slowly around this region, not imposed from above, but forming as a result of sustained balance. Broad planes of softly glowing material arrange themselves into terraces and gentle inclines, each one aligned to a different aspect of astral experience. These are not destinations, but stabilizing forms, spaces where awareness can rest without collapsing inward or dispersing outward. You recognize that this is what the observatory ultimately prepared you for. Entry into a zone where perception can remain clear even as the environment grows quieter. The gatekeepers do not follow you into this depth, yet their influence remains. You sense their oversight as a background steadiness, ensuring that transitions continue to unfold smoothly. Their role here is complete, not because they withdraw, but because their work has already been integrated into the structure itself. The astral plane no longer needs their active modulation in this region. It holds its own equilibrium. As time stretches, the currents that once defined motion grow subtler. Movement does not cease, but it becomes internal rather than external. Changes occur within awareness before they appear in the environment, and often the environment adjusts before thought fully forms. This reciprocal relationship creates a profound sense of ease. Nothing surprises you and nothing demands response. You are simply present within a system that supports presence as its natural state. It is here that the character of the experience begins to shift. Without any signal or announcement, the emphasis moves away from exploration and toward stillness. Not the stillness of absence, but of completion. The terraces soften, their edges blurring into continuous surfaces. Light dims slightly, not fading, but becoming warmer and more diffuse. The sense of structure remains, yet it no longer draws attention to itself. Your awareness, having remained alert and stable through every transition, now finds that maintaining this clarity requires less effort. Focus widens gently, encompassing the space without needing to define it. Thoughts, when they arise, do so slowly and without momentum, dissolving back into the field before forming narratives. The astral plane responds by growing quieter still, as though recognizing that its work for this cycle is nearly complete. The environment begins to dim in a gradual, organic way. There is no single source of light withdrawing, Rather, illumination settles inward, concentrating into a soft ambient glow that fills everything evenly. The terraces dissolve into a single continuous plane, smooth and supportive, offering a sense of grounding without weight. You feel held, not by structure, but by coherence itself. It is only now that the quality of rest begins to emerge, subtle at first and entirely unforced. Your awareness does not collapse or drift abruptly. Instead, it loosens its boundaries, allowing perception to become less defined while remaining comfortable. The astral plane does not pull you deeper. It simply becomes quieter, reducing stimulation until stillness feels natural rather than imposed. The last distinct elements of the environment, the faint currents, the residual harmonics of deeper systems, fade into a unified hush. What remains is a sense of continuity, as though the astral plane has folded its complexity away for safekeeping. You are aware that this space will persist, unchanged, whether or not you remain conscious of it. That knowledge brings a quiet reassurance, allowing vigilance to soften. Gradually, awareness shifts from engagement to presence without focus. Sensation dims gently, not disappearing, but receding into the background. The field around you grows indistinct, merging seamlessly with the quiet rhythms of your own internal state. There is no moment where you are instructed to release control. Instead, control becomes irrelevant as nothing requires it. The astral plane settles fully, its structures and systems slipping into dormancy until they are needed again. The observatory, the gatekeepers, and the deeper frameworks remain intact, but they no longer present themselves. They exist now as latent order, supporting the transition into a simpler state of being. Rest arrives not as an event, but as a condition that has been quietly forming all along. Awareness becomes diffuse, then gently indistinguishable from the calm that surrounds it. The environment dims one final degree, leaving only a soft, uniform har for quiet. There is no closing statement, no signal of departure, only the sense that everything has settled exactly where it belongs.